Good afternoon, everyone. It's January 7th, 2019. I'm Eric. I'm going to do 3 videos in one this time around simply because I have house guests and it makes it very fucking hard to get any of these videos done, even in the early morning. So I'm going to try to knock them out, maybe do some from my bedroom, but it gets pretty noisy here. So, this one is on DC Clothesline. It comes from Trump sympathizer Mike Adams. We also have one here at Blacklisted. Men face more discrimination than women, according to new research. A couple of things here on the Free Thought Project. And this one on Global Research, .ca. So I'm going to start with this one and move from there. So, down with dictators, fake democracy in America. A lot of people like to believe that America is a democracy, and yet others would like to believe that it is a republic. Neither of these things are true. And a lot of people like to believe that either one of these are the best forms of government that one can have, but they are not. I mean, any fucking shithole can call itself a republic. Think Congo, think North Korea, and all the other shitty little republics out there. So, all this bullshit about a republic being the best form of government, it's just that. It's bullshit because even in the intent, they still believe that one group of people has a right to rule over everybody else. The writer just loves it when our mainstream media and, of course, our one-party politicians rant and rave about dictators. And, man, are they fucking hypocritical when they talk about these people. They talk about Assad, using chemical weapons on his people, but, it wasn't true, and while at the same time using white phosphorus on other groups of people, which, man, that's pretty evil shit to be doing. They lash out at the preposterous, comical assertions by the leaders of many countries who win re-elections with 90 to 100% of the vote, that those nations are democracies. Shame on them. Shame on our nation's corporate and political entities who keep trading and financially aiding those countries. These men, not too often women, who are quite honestly dictators, always make sure that there is little or no opposition to them. And that is the policy of a lot of would-be, wannabe dictators. Just check out the Rockefellers. I believe it was John Rockefeller who said that competition was a sin. Well, the same goes for politicians. They think that way too. What cracks this writer up is when so-called socialist Bernie Sanders said Hugo Chavez is just a dead communist dictator, yet Chavez won their election and 2 re-elections as Venezuela's president against formidable candidates, the last time being in 2012, when he won 55 to 45% Is that what our empire's lemmings would call a dictatorship? And they are lemmings, man, let me tell you. They are sheep running off the cliff because one fucking sheep ahead of them did it. Here's the skinny on our so-called democracy and free elections in America. The fat cats who are the wizards behind the Oz sure are shrewd. For close to a century, they have made sure that their concoction, aka two-party system, stayed intact. Folks, anyone else just could not get through the door. The powerful money behind both of the empire's parties just keeps on splashing out of the spigot. Any semblance of a third-party movement is squashed before it can get any legs. Or one of the two parties, usually today's Democrats, just co-ops the new movement and places it under its big tent. Finally, most elections, for president especially, sees a majority of the voting public, which is usually around 50% of eligible voters. Why is that? Not voting for one candidate, but in reality voting against the other. Trump, to this writer's way of thinking and logic, won because of the powerful backlash against Hillary Clinton. My joke has been that if the Democrats ran Donald Duck against Donald Trump, they would have won. So, the bottom line is that we do have a dictatorship right here in good old America. It is a much worse sophisticated one, whereupon the suckers, we who actually vote, get to choose from, as Ralph Nader labeled it, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. The two-party, one-party con job will differ on certain issues like abortion, gay rights, Medicaid funding, and so on. But they agree on the most important issues. Which is why I'm telling you once again that without the Republicans, the Democrats would never be able to do gun confiscation. Let's move on. I gave that one about 8 minutes. Little over. Alright, so preview of the chaos to come in 2019-2020. This is at DC Clothesline. Probably on Natural News as well, yes. Oh, Mike says he's been putting off writing about events to come in 2019-2020 for the simple reason that I don't think anyone is mentally prepared to accept the levels of chaos that's coming. Perhaps 95% of the population doesn't give a shit about anything other than their social media posts, celebrity news, and fashion shows. Their ability to face reality on any subject, politics, finance, science, ecology, and so on, has collapsed to zero. For the remaining 5%, many of those people are too desperately clinging to financial survival to think seriously about preparedness or collapse. They're already in a collapse emergency of sorts, and they don't have the mental bandwidth to handle even the thought of another crisis. It is perhaps the strongest evidence of a collapsing civilization when the signs of collapse are systematically ignored by those most likely to suffer from it. The people who will be most negatively impacted by a stock market crash, for example, will tell themselves they can't afford to lose any more retirement money and thus have to keep holding their stocks and hoping for the best. When I tell these people to sell their stocks and convert their to cash or T-bills, they irrationally proclaim, but I can't afford to pay the tax on the stock gains I've already made. Then how, I wonder, will they be able to afford living when half the value of their stock evaporates over the next 2 years? Somehow they've become paralyzed by profit and now find themselves incapable of realizing that profit by cashing out I fucked that sentence up. Somehow they've become paralyzed by profits and now find themselves incapable of realizing that profit by cashing out. I think he kind of wrote that fucking sentence a little screwy, don't you? The American's public poisons itself to death and calls it health care. Similarly, the very people being poisoned by toxic pharmaceuticals resist adopting healthy food and lifestyle habits, telling themselves they need their medication, even though it's the statin drug, cancer treatments, and antidepressant chemicals that are making them diseased and depressed in the first place. Most people are murdering themselves. And it's all based on the bad information they're being subjected to by a dishonest media that's almost entirely controlled by corporate and globalist interests. When mass delusions become normalized, society is reaching its end game. If there's one thing I've learned in nearly 50 years of living on this earth, it's that almost everyone is delusional in one way or another. All across American society, and I'm glad, let me stop right there. I'm glad that he put that in there. Mike Adams is a very smart dude. He's very successful. And he himself was delusioned by Donald Trump. Yes, everyone is delusional in one way or another. All across American society today, what passes as mainstream thinking is so horrifically disfigured that it's almost unbelievable to witness. A biological man, for example, recently claimed to be a woman so he could join a woman's football team and dish out man-sized brute force on the playing field. When he was cut from the woman's team, he sued and won. Under the banner of feminism, women's sports teams are about to be steamrolled across society, dominated by creepy biological men full of rage and hatred, all claiming to be women. Amazingly, progressive women across America support the insanity in the name of feminism and progressivism. So, the next time a female football player gets her clock cleaned and her teeth knocked out after enduring a devastating tackle from a 270-pound transgender woman/man, man/woman, just remember, that's what equality looks like in a progressive society. And it's not progressive, it's regressive, people. There is no stopping the collapse that has already begun. You're starting to see the system of human civilization breaking down everywhere. The labor pool of reliable young workers at America has all but vanished. Bankers are financial idiots who can't answer basic questions about customer accounts. Corporate security officers who work at insurance companies can't answer questions about the security of your social security number. Doctors now function as little more than Big Pharma's human drug dispensing machines, and so-called journalists have infested the corporate-run media, are so dishonest and incompetent that they utterly lost the ability to investigate anything at all. There is not a sector of society that is functioning like it should be these days. Not even the universities, which have been transformed into snowflake indoctrination centers for the mentally gullible. Young people graduating from college today know less than they did before they entered the school. They become experts in anti-knowledge or fake facts that they think are true. For example, nearly all college graduates today believe that carbon dioxide is a dangerous pollutant that will destroy the planet. Yet any honest scientist who graduated a generation earlier will confirm that carbon dioxide is the single most important nutrient for plants, responsible for the greening of rainforests, food crops, grasslands, and even aquatic ecosystems. CO2 is the molecule of life, yet college graduates have been indoctrinated with anti-knowledge that claims CO2 is a poison. While, fluoride in your water, that's not a poison. Even though it's, a neurotoxin? Let's see here. He goes on to say that we've crossed the tipping point. Modern society cannot be rescued from its self-induced suicide. And he's right. There's no rescuing this society. You can forget about waking others up. I've spent so much time trying to wake other people up. And man, after I saw those Trump videos, I knew that there is absolutely no hope for the people of this country, at least most of them. He says he could go on with many more examples of the collapse of modern society, but you're probably experiencing much of this yourself and therefore need no further convincing. What you really need to know is that society has crossed a tipping point, beyond which a catastrophic collapse, societal suicide, can no longer be reversed. And it's all because of a bunch of assholes embedded in our governments that have completely fucking corrupted everything. I'll do this last paragraph because it's a good one. From here forward, it's just a question of the form and timing of the collapse. There's not even a real debate about whether it's coming. The systems upon which sustainable society depends are no longer functioning. Across the realms of politics, finance, science, biology, culture, history, news, knowledge, and even technology, falsehoods are rewarded while truths are punished. The weak-minded are celebrated while the critical thinkers are terrorized and defamed. The perverted are hoisted on pedestals while the moral members of society are mocked and censored. And moving on to men face more discrimination than women, according to new research. And I'm not one of those men going their own way people. I like women. And there's a lot of bad women out there, just like there's a lot of bad men. But I like women. I definitely do. I can see why the fallen angels or the Anunnaki liked our women. I really could see it. So, the academics behind the new study say current ways of measuring gender inequality are based or biased to highlight women's issues, so they fail to produce an accurate picture. Their new yardstick, snappily named the Basic Index of Gender Inequality, or BIGI, instead focuses on 3 factors: educational opportunities, healthy life expectancy, and overall life satisfaction. The results are in, and surprisingly, men were found to be more disadvantaged than women in 91 countries, while women were more disadvantaged than men in 43. Men are worse off in the U.S., Russia, and most European nations. The academics from the University of Missouri in the U.S. to the University of Essex in the U.K. used these factors to calculate equality scores from 134 nations representing 6.8 billion people. In quotes, no existing measure of gender inequality fully captures the hardships that are disproportionately experienced by men in many countries, and so they do not fully capture the extent to which any specific country is promoting the well-being of all its citizens. One of the lead researchers, Professor Gilbert Stollett, explained, "We're not saying that women in highly developed countries are not experiencing disadvantages in some aspects of their lives. What we are saying is that an ideal measure of gender equality is not biased to the disadvantages of either gender. Doing so, we find a different picture to the one commonly presented in the media." So, yep, thought I would share that one with you, since in particular white males are constantly taking the blame for nearly all the evils of this world. And here's a couple headlines off of the Free Thought Project. One in particular I want you to pay attention to is the first one. "I'm going to shoot it." Infuriating video shows cop shoot a tiny 9-pound dog. Come on. Are these the kind of people you want protecting you? How many times has it been a dog? How many times has it been a kid? How many times has it been a World War II veteran? How many times has it been somebody who is unarmed and compliant? How many times does this have to happen until people get the idea that would be far, far better off without police, and far, far more better off if we all had guns to protect ourselves with? And by the way, they are coming for the guns. Make no mistake about it. So, if you're one of these law-abiding citizens, I call you guys dupes. But if you are one of these law-abiding citizens, I highly advise you to at least buy a couple of guns under the table, so that you have a way to defend yourself after they come and steal them from you. And if you don't believe that that will happen, I refer you to back when gold was made illegal for citizens to possess. And what they do, they confiscated the gold and made everyone who decided, I'm not giving these motherfuckers my gold, into criminals. And just look at how their overall treatment of all of us. Do you really believe that you're going to be safe without your weapons? Do you really believe that you're going to be safe dialing 911? Do you really believe that cops are heroes? Do you really believe politicians have the right to tell you what to do? I hope you all have a good day. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.